Hi everyone, it's Pam from the Shoots with Roots program at Milner Gardens and Woodland. Today is December 9th. It's not quite winter here on Vancouver Island, but I'm starting to see a lot of signs that it's pretty close. Animals are starting to migrate. There are migratory birds here that only come in the winter time. My neighbors at home are starting to put Christmas lights up in their windows, and trees have completely lost their leaves. We talked in a previous video about how and why trees like this big leaf maple lose their leaves, but winter's such a hard time for trees that they don't just lose their leaves. This tree has actually gone to sleep. Shh. Trees don't actually tuck themselves in with pillows and blankets to sleep for the winter. That would be weird, but just like our bodies slow down when we go to sleep, in the wintertime, trees slow down and stop growing. We call it being dormant. And it's not just the deciduous trees that go dormant for the winter. Evergreen trees, like this western red cedar, also slow down and stop growing in the wintertime. It's just harder for us to notice because they don't lose their leaves. If we could look inside of them, wait! We can look inside of them. When trees like the one I'm sitting on fall down, we have an opportunity to look inside of them. And we don't just get to see tree rings that tell us about them going dormant in winter, but we can actually learn the whole story of their lives. Trees, like this Douglas fir we're looking at, grow all throughout the spring and summer. If they get lots of water and sunshine and nutrients, then they grow a lot. If it's a harder year, if it doesn't rain very much, or if there's a fire, if a bigger tree blocks them, then they don't grow as much. And there are other things that affect them too. Trees are connected to each other through a network of roots and fungus. And if that network is broken, like for instance, if the tree beside them falls down, then that can be hard on that tree because it's lost its connection. It's kind of like how feeling isolated can make things feel a little bit more difficult for us as humans too. Trees that don't have good connections to their neighbors have a harder time. Now, no matter what kind of year they've had, every tree stops growing and slows down in the wintertime. And when growth stops, it makes a ring. The trees grow, 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 and then they stop. Grow, 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 stop. Grow, grow, stop. And that growth pattern is how tree rings are formed. Because the tree makes one ring per year, you can count the rings and find out how old the tree is. But that's not the only information that's written here in these rings. If we look closely, we can see something happened to the tree right here. Maybe it was injured or had a fire. There were some really good growth years here, but some smaller growth years right there. You can also notice places where one side of the tree grew a lot more than the other side. So maybe there was a tree leaning on it or something else that was affecting it that year. The whole life of the tree is written here in these rings. So, trees go to sleep for the winter, and when they do, they make tree rings, and those tree rings record the story of that tree's life. If I was a tree, I wonder what my ring for 2020 would look like. It's been a pretty weird year and hard in a lot of ways, but you know, I've also learned new things like how to make these videos and connect to you all online, so maybe I've actually grown a lot this year. What do you think your growth ring would look like for 2020? Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna go dormant for the winter, just like these trees, but I'll be back with another video in January. Thanks and happy winter, everyone.